Hello, I'm Tiffany, and I'm here with Leslie, and she has invited us into her home to get a tour of her houseplants.
Hi, my name is Leslie and welcome to my home. I have at least 40 different plants in here, mostly tropical and succulents because of the amount of sunlight that I have in here. We can start with one of my oldest plants, which is a snake plant. I have at least 4 different variations of snake plants in here. I originally started off with this one by the window, but once I seen that it could thrive, I put it over here for decoration. If we go over here, I have a bird of paradise. I have 3 of them. This is May, and over in the corner is Ola. I got this plant in memory of my grandmother. She recently passed, and this was her favorite plant. Behind my bird of paradise, I have a Photonia that is hiding. Due to the amount of sunlight I have in here, it gets a little burned. So I figure if it has a little shelter, it will do well. Here is an aloe. I have 2 different species of aloe. This one has really been doing well. As you can see, tons of new growth, and it's just happy. A lot of my plants are gifted to me because they're struggling in some of my friends' homes. This one right here is a beautiful monstera. As you can see, it's still struggling a little bit, but what always gives me hope and the indicator that I'll look to see if a plant is doing well is new growth. And then if you see here, we have more new growth. Here is another snake plant. This one was actually gifted to me. It's grown, and I've actually repotted it within the past few months. It is thriving. You can see it's clustering and thick and happy.
What are your thoughts on the snake plant for beginners?
Oh, excellent. Excellent plant for beginners because you don't need to overwater it. Actually, the first snake plants that I showed you in the front, I usually water it maybe twice a month or once every 2 months, excuse me. This one right here, the same.
It looks nice and healthy.
And then we have this one right here. Is another type of snake plant. As you can see, new growth. When leaves fall off into it, I just kind of let it sit in there, dissolve, compost. Here is one of my tropical plants. I've had that one for 6 years. It is definitely grown. It's never bloomed, but it looks happy. Behind it, I have a waffle plant. I nicknamed it Crunchy. I love this plant. It's actually...
And they turn the leaves. Look at the beautiful color.
Right in front of it, I have a white jewel. And in the back, I have a beautiful palm. A lot of my plants are outdoor plants, but as you can see, they are thriving indoor. One last one, we have a lucky cactus. I originally got this 3 years ago. This was my pandemic baby. It started off at this height, but as you can see, tons of new growth. And I actually get these plant stems or sticks to help train them to stand up. But all in all, everyone is thriving. Then if you come over here, we have Ola. This is a beautiful big bird of paradise. As you can see, it's just reaching up. And right in front of it, and I clustered the plants together.
Great lighting.
Thank you. And that's why I think they're so happy. I like to cluster the plants together. I really think that they speak to each other and say, it's okay to grow here. This one was someone else's bird of paradise that was struggling. But as you can see, we have some new growth. But I cut it back when I originally got it, just to, you know, like help it grow. Here's another struggle baby. This is another snake plant, but as you can see, new growth. That's always a good indicator.
Yes.
And then I have another succulent, a jade plant, which I love.
They're beautiful.
And then right behind it, I had a pot, this big white pot is where I had a giant peace lily. Unfortunately, it didn't last because I needed to repot it, but unfortunately, pots are expensive. Having plants are expensive, and I'm just gonna leave it because I cut it down to like the stalk, and I'm just praying that it'll grow back. This is my begonia. This is one of my favorites. This was gifted to me. One of my family friends propagated it, but as you can see, it's gone from in a Dixie cup to a little piece to this thriving, cascading, beautiful plant. As you can see, it is flowered, and it's actually flowered throughout the whole winter. It is so lovely.
It is elegant.
And as you can see, it is rich, thick, and green. I love it. And then underneath, the vines, the flowers. It's so lovely.
It is. And what do you think about the texture? It's so thick and like
I love it.
waxy.
Yeah, it's very tropical. And I think it's subtropical and tropical. But it's happy. It gets morning light and it gets afternoon light. So, you know,
it's happy.
It's happy, yes. And plus, I play a lot of music in here. A lot of plants I get from Lowe's and Home Depot. You can look on the clearance section. Like I said, plants are really expensive. And if you want to start off growing, I would suggest going with a succulent because you don't have to water it that much. And also, I would suggest, you know, just trying off with plants that aren't expensive. Going to the clearance section. I have a peperonium. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've actually propagated this one and started this plant. That's another way to get more plants. If you can't afford to buy plants, you can always take pieces of other plants. Ask your friends, or, you know, just grow your own. I'm actually propagating these succulents. I don't know if you can see all the roots. I actually got this off of a bouquet. I just clipped it, put it down in some water. You can get mason jars. I do the saran wrap so the sunlight is still able to get through. And as you can see, this one is ready to plant. I experiment and actually grow a lot of plants in water, hydroponics. Here's another succulent that I have just growing in water. As you can see, it's thriving. It's doing extremely well. It's healthy. I've actually had this in water for 6 months. I also have another succulent snake plant, and I want to show you the roots. As you can see, I've had this one in water and growing. I don't know if you're able to see. I've had this in water and growing for 7 to 8 months. And as you can see, it's healthy. And I'm going to continue.
That's affordable to propagate.
Very, very affordable. Right here, I have a baby jade. I have another snake plant. This one's doing very well. This is my throwaway garden. With succulents, you can take pieces that have fallen off, leaves as you can see, and place them in dirt and then just spray them with water every now and then, and as you can see, they'll throw. cut. This is my throwaway garden. When leaves or petals fall off of one of my succulents, I just throw them in here. This is a mother of thousands and just a succulent. As you can see the leaves, there is new growth. You just place them in some dirt and then you just water them every now and then and they will produce.
Nice, lovely.
Yes. And I have another aloe. And this one right here is one of my favorites. I actually had this one on the shelf, but it started growing sideways. And I just let it. And as you can see, it is happy. It has bloomed these beautiful white flowers.
Beautiful.
Here's another propagation project. As you can see, the leaf or the petal that originated from, and then these are the babies that produce from it.
You have a nice collection.
Thank you. And you know, I really love growing, Chris, as you can see. This was gifted to me during a birthday party. This is beautiful. I haven't replanted it. It could go into another pot, but as you can see, it's happy.
I got a quick question. A lot of people are getting into succulents. Do you feel that the care and maintenance of succulents are any different than houseplants that are the watering or the...
Yes, actually. You do have to pay attention to them. For instance, here's one of my cactus. This one is actually grown. This was on top. The top was there, and within a matter of a year, it has expanded this much. I had to pay attention to it. And here's another succulent that is actually air growing. Here are the roots. And like I said, I like to push plants and experiment and see what they will do. That's how I learn. I don't really do a lot of research. I just wonder, you know, like, ooh, let me see if I do this. Because, you know, plants will talk to you. They'll let you know in their body language, the color of their leaves, and then also the dirt. My place, I have so many plants, I have to be careful that I don't overwater them and get the little gnats. I have these wandering Jews. They're actually growing in water and doing extremely well. They've been in water for over a year. As you can see, the color of the water. There's some that I need to prune, but they're doing fine. Look.
Now, there's not a big issue with changing out the water?
Occasionally, I will freshen up the water, but I see the chlorophyll, and I don't know if the nutrients is what's making it thrive or it needs to be changed. I will pay attention to the leaves and see if I have new growth. Here's one of my orchids. I've had this orchid for 6 years. I have a Christmas cactus, and as you can see, the water jug that the other wandering Jew is grown in. And then I have this beautiful Brazilian philodendron. And as you can see, it is really thriving. I probably need to repot it, but I'm scared to repot it. Because look at it, it's cascading and it's thriving.
It would have to be a big project. You probably have to do it on the floor.
Yes.
And then you can still propagate.
Yes, and I have. I've given this to many of my friends, but look, it's so pretty.
You wouldn't think about giving it a haircut?
No, I like it wild. And then we have my Hindu rope plant.
I love this. It's so
my
pretty.
Hoya.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at the texture. I like the textures of different, plant species.
This one has never bloomed, but ironically, this one has bloomed.
The one that's in the water. Wow.
In the water, yeah, you can see where it had flowered. And once again, sediment or chlorophyll, not really sure what it is. But you see the roots and it's happy. It hasn't gotten any bigger. It just keeps blooming. It's bloomed, I think, twice this fall and winter. Here's another propagation project. There you go.
And that's just with the leaves.
Just with the leaves.
I'm gonna just get a top angle.
Sure.
And that's just with saran wrap
Mm-hmm.
and a rubber band.
And mason jar.
Mason jar. That keeps it sturdy.
Yeah. In front of it, you have an agave plant.
Look at the variegation there with the white. That's nice.
Yes. And that's pretty much it.
And what is this here in front of us?
Oh, another variation of a philodendron.
Okay.
I've had this one for 2 years.
It's nice and thick.
I'm a little worried because it's so close to the ground and it's in a pot, but it's growing up more than spilling out.
Mm-hmm. Growing toward the light.
Yes. And then here is another Mother of
This one?
Thousands. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is one of my favorites. I actually got this in a clearance section at Lowe's. This is painter's palette. I don't know the scientific name for it, but it's doing well. When I got it, it was really struggling. But once again, I like to group the plants together. I really do feel that they speak to each other.
I agree. I think it's important to have little colonies or families.
Yes, and as you can see, that's what I have.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I like to call this my hanging wall. Most of the stuff over here is just draping.
And with this loft,
cascading
you have
down.
so much window that brings in so much lighting.
Yes, so I get 10 to 12 hours of light. Mostly, the most intense light is now, anywhere from 3 to sunset. In the summertime, it usually sets at around 8 o'clock. And it stays bright in here until then. So that's another reason why I need succulents, because it's so much light. I've had other plants and they've just been burnt, literally burnt. That's why I have the Photonia hiding behind the bird of paradise. But if you scan the room, you can see the sunlight is slowly creeping.
Yeah.
When we first started, it wasn't this much. But there you go. That is my home.
So Leslie, you mentioned that you play music.
Yes.
What kind of genre of music do you play?
I listen to any and everything, but mostly jazz. I think the plants really like jazz.
I like jazz too. It sets a nice atmosphere and everything. Okay, so in general, why do you have houseplants, and how does it benefit you?
Okay. I am a nurturer. I love to pour love and time and energy into things, and plants are like the perfect thing to get that back from. Especially in my experimental corner, plants that are struggling, when you start to see roots, or if you start to see the color change or they perk up, it's lovely.
And you had a couple of plants that you brought back to life.
Yes.
So that's a big
and
win.
my friends and my family know that about me, so I have a good 10 plants that were gifted to me that were just struggling, and I've poured my love into them and played some jazz, and they're thriving.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Well, I wanted to thank Leslie for inviting us into her home, and I have a little present for her to add to her collection.
Thank you. Oh, a peperonium. I have one in the corner, so I know this one is going to thrive. I absolutely love the color. Thank you. And I have a gift for you as well. This is one of my favorites. It's the begonia. I've propagated it, and it's for you.
I love this already. Oh my goodness.
We'll have to do an update.
Thank you, Leslie.
Yes.
You have an awesome plant collection,
you.
And she's an awesome plant parent.
Thank you. And I encourage everyone to grow and just learn and, try it out. Go to the clearance section. Get a baby that's struggling.
Oh,
succulents.
my goodness.
Another thing about snake plants, plants also do something for you, whether it's, something that you just want to see grow. They're therapeutic, and also they'll clean the air. So grow. That's my message.